hate what people like your client stand for. We're going to prove once and for all that God is dead.
Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is my spoiler-free review for God's Not Dead 2. So let me start with what I liked about the movie. I liked the overall plot, the overall story. So you have this teacher played by Melissa Joan Hart. She plays a teacher named Grace. She's teaching her high school AP history class. She's talking about Martin Luther King and his peaceful protest and things like that. So then you have this high school student, Haley. She raises her hand.
Isn't that sort of like what Jesus meant when he said that we should love our enemies? Yes.
Melissa Joan Hart, she honestly answered the question, which landed her in an entire world of hurt. I'm going to be honest with you. She answered that question so innocently. It wasn't like evangelical. It wasn't like proselytizing. It wasn't any of that. And at first I was like, why is she getting in trouble for this? It makes no sense. But then later I felt like the story justified that. Like it really became part of it. I was like, okay, yep, I get it. And it kind of makes it a bit more compelling. So really, it's just about the world turns on Melissa Joan Hart. They take her to court, and it just becomes this whole great big thing. And, you know, I thought a lot of that was really interesting. The courtroom scenes were really interesting, the way they built the arguments, the intensity of some of the scenes. Like, I thought overall that stuff was pretty good. Another thing that I thought was really good was the acting. Like, Melissa Joan Hart playing Grace, those moments where she was standing in faith, I was like, yeah, you do it! Those moments where she was hurting, where she was crying, where she was afraid. I was surprised. I think the last thing I've ever seen Melissa Joan Hart do was Clarissa Explains It All on Nickelodeon. So this was really kind of cool to see her do this as an actress and to see her really get into it. So like, I thought she did a really good job. The dude who played her lawyer, what was his name? Look, I took notes. So responsible. Jesse Metcalf. I'm so responsible for taking notes, and so irresponsible for my inability to actually pronounce this dude's name. He was in that John Tucker Must Die movie. He fit that character well, and I thought it was done really good, and I liked the dynamic between her and him. I also liked the character Haley, the one who raised her hand in class to ask about Jesus, and the reason she raised her hand to ask was because she was searching herself. She was dealing with the death of her brother, and because the actress playing Haley plays Erica Goldberg on The Goldbergs, all I could think was, which brother? Which brother died? Tell me! Anyway, I thought her performance in this was really good. Like, her character was the character that got the ball rolling in this, and I thought she did a really good job. You know, you got to watch her kind of, like, explore. You got to watch her character grow, and then you got to see some of the turmoil she went through because of all this court stuff and it feeling like it was her fault. So I thought she actually handled this really well. I mean, the only thing I've ever seen her in is playing the older sister in The Goldbergs, and she does a great job in that, and she does a great job in this. One of the other things I thought was interesting was Ray Wise. Half the time, I cannot think of him in anything else other than Robin's dad from How I Met Your Mother. Like, I couldn't get it out of my head. But he played a kind of menacing character. And in the court scenes, I mean, as he started doing his opening arguments and, started, being the real villain of the story, I thought, wow, this guy's really good. We've got a real villain here. Somebody I'm really not going to like. Yeah. So some things about this movie I didn't like. A lot of faith-based films end up with this problem. Corny and hokey. And this movie had it. I enjoyed this movie better than the first God's Not Dead, but this movie definitely still had some really hokey moments. And I'm sorry to say that, but honestly, it was there. Even though some of the scenes, and it's like the way they're written, it's like, no, yeah, I see. That follows in line with the story and probably should be compelling, but there is something about it right here that is just really corny. And the other thing that was kind of sad, Ray Wise, playing the villain lawyer, trying to take away everything from Melissa Joan Hart. He had some great moments, but they just didn't keep it up. I mean, here's a guy who could just be this fantastic villain, and it's not that he fell short, it's just his villainy fell short. Like, the character fell short. Like, I don't know, like they ran out of things for him to say or do, and so he was just kind of there. That was kind of sad, because it felt like a little bit of a waste of that actor and a little bit of a waste of what that character started out to be. It was kind of cool, but then kind of sad. While I was watching it, the courtroom scenes were really good. I thought it was well acted. I thought it was well performed and things like that. So I was into it. But at the same time, because of some of those corny moments and things like that kind of pulled me out of it, like, this movie felt like it was longer than it was. So I enjoyed it. I was not disappointed, but I don't really have the urge to see it again, and I don't really have much of an urge to buy it on Blu-ray. So that's why, for me, I'm going to end up giving it 2.5 out of 5 stars. If you saw God's Not Dead 2, let me know what you thought. Let me know in the comments, and while you're right there commenting, don't forget to click that subscribe button. Also, check us out on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.